Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of This Week in Eorzea, the parody news show that gives you the latest Final Fantasy XIV news. With me, as always, is Pyra.
Hello, friends.
my prettier and more intelligent half.
Who are you talking to? What?
Oh, man. It's good to finally have some news, so let's get straight into it. We have... what are we doing here? Line. We have a bunch of stuff that has popped up on the lodestone. It is exciting getting to see actual stuff on the lodestone. So even just going through it one at a time, like there's some callouts here. First and definitely not least is the live letter we have been anticipating finally has a date. A really unfortunate date in time for me personally, but it is the end of September as predicted, coming in at September 28th at line
10:50 p.m. Pacific Standard.
10:50
daylight.
Like
very specific.
10:50 p.m. Okay. So yeah, Saturday, September 28th at 10:50 p.m. is the live letter. This is going to go in depth into patch 7.1. So they are going to be talking about all those things we have heard as upcoming, like the exploration content and our Alliance Raid 7.1?
Yeah, so this is, from what I've read on their notification, it's 7.1 Part 1, which is a little ominous. 24-Man Savage should be coming out, potentially in that range. I know 7.1, the extreme trial for the final boss of Dawn Trail should be coming out, probably. New Unreal Trial should be coming out. And some of these are speculation, some of these just kind of line up with past 7.1 patches. And potentially new PvP, which is, again, speculation, but a lot of people have said PvP update of sorts, whatever that may mean.
Okay, so this is happening during the Tokyo Game Show in Tokyo. I did it! Yay! Yeah, where they'll be broadcasting it live on stage. So, live letters traditionally have English translation. I haven't clicked on the YouTube link yet, but
this one will not, to my knowledge.
It will not,
because it's regional to Japan. I don't believe that they're going to have a translation. Yes. Japanese and English text, but the presentation audio will be Japanese only.
Oh, okay. Well, that's just unfortunate. But when this happens, people like you and I who need that information, I know personally I go to Discord. The Final Fantasy XIV Discord has a team there that is always translating live information. So it's a little bit slower, but they include like pictures of the presentation. So they're translating kind of as quick as possible live as it's coming out. And so it's a way for us English-speaking people to get some of the latest information without waiting for an official notice to come out. So,
yeah, they're fairly quick too. Like, even like you said, they're doing it live. So even though it's not as quick as just hearing the live stream, they're very thorough and good about getting that up with each slide that pops up.
And even if they're only speaking Japanese, the slides also have English on them. I've never seen a presentation slide that didn't have both the Japanese and the English on it. So, all right. PAX Australia.
The PAX train doesn't stop.
It keeps going and it keeps going.
And it keeps going and it keeps going.
So it looks like it's the same sort of thing, the battle against Valley Garmanda, but it's happening down under. Wednesday, October 9th in Melbourne. So if anyone just happens to be down that way, For me, it's like an 18-hour flight, but you know.
I know what's an 18-hour flight across the ocean. You know, no big deal.
No big deal. Okay.
Folks for PAX Australia should be super excited too, because there are a couple new new things happening that have never happened. Like, just to mention a little bit about PAX, they're doing an actual official fan meetup at a venue with like prizes and like things for people to do at like I don't know if it's a bar or like something. They're doing like that. They have like special Moogle pins and like all these things. I'm like, they've never done this at PAX before. What is going on? So anybody going to PAX Australia, they're actually going pretty all out for what they usually do at PAX. So definitely something to look forward to if you're down under.
You know, it's a little bit of love for the oceanic people who have been mainly forgotten by collaborations and that sort of stuff. So
they deserve it.
I can let that slide.
Deserve it.
And then Primals live in Japan, October 7th, 4 a.m. Pacific. You can watch this one though, if you pay the right price.
I'm going to correct you there. It's September 21st.
What? Oh, the ticket sale. What? What? How is it? How is it?
The ticket sale period is September 9th through the October 7th. The live performance is the 21st of September. But you can buy
why can you buy tickets after the event? But yes, it's because it's a YouTube thing.
So they usually have a platform of their own that they use,
right.
And then it's archived up until a certain point, and then you can watch it for that certain amount of time, the replay, and then it goes bye-bye. So usually you can purchase a ticket, you get access to the video either live or archived until that point, and then that is it.
Gotcha. It's 4,400 yen. Plus a 220 yen system usage fee. So, do the math.
No, you can't. No.
Yeah. So I've never watched any of these concerts. They often do it with the fan fest, like the piano performances and stuff. But I've never utilized this. Clearly.
I have through a friend, so, and you didn't hear this from me, I don't know if we're supposed to be doing this. Usually a friend will Discord stream it and we'll watch it together as like a group of friends, and we'll kind of pitch in on the cost.
But we're not talking about that.
But we're not talking about that. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen one before, I swear.
Okay. I mean, I love the Primals videos. I watch them on YouTube all the time. Sometimes when I start to wander YouTube in a particular way, they start suggesting those videos to me again to cheer me up. But, yeah. What else is news? Is that all the news? Oh my god.
Might be all of the news itself. The only thing with Tokyo Game Show as well is just it's kind of like it is another convention of sorts, like gaming convention, mostly Japanese game devs with some international as well. Yeah, so I know that there are details TBD on Tokyo Game Show. If anybody is in Japan or traveling to Japan, they're probably going to have some stuff keyed up for that weekend as well, outside of just the live letter.
Okay. This one caught me off guard. This important date is news to me. So the Rising is ending September 11th at 8 a.m. Pacific. So tomorrow is the last day to do the Rising, and I have yet to do it on my main character. So I really need to get on that. I haven't been in game for like 3 or 4 days. So I have to get on that. I just have until tomorrow night before I go to bed, and then it's gone.
Slacking.
And the only reason I really need to do this is because we were talking just a couple weeks ago about like legacy rewards for players who have completed events like this multiple times. So I'd be like heartbroken if Yoshi's like, great idea, let's do it. And I'm like, oh, but I missed it.
I mean, at that point too, my recommendation to anybody who's in a pinch is just, if you have to, cutscene skip everything. And then I think, can you go back into the unending, is it called the unending journey?
The book in the inn room, yeah.
Yeah, I think you can go back and watch them too, if I'm not mistaken. Or even an alt or YouTube. Some people literally just record themselves go through it and then post it to YouTube. So like if you're in a pinch, do that, get rewards, and don't regret it.
There you go. Those booby lights, you're gonna want those in the future. the FOMO is gonna be real, so make sure. I'm waiting
to walk into a house and then there's just booby lights everywhere.
Okay. And then September 17th, the PC release for Final Fantasy 16. Oh my god. I am useless today. I am sorry. For 16. So yeah, we're just super close to that. I can feel all the hype in the air as people are playing through other games like Baldur's Gate and WoW and everything. So it's disappointing that the hype isn't there. I haven't personally seen it myself. I don't know if you have, but
I'm not even feeling the hype. Like, I was hyped, and I know we talked about this the other day, but like, I was seriously hyped when the game came out, and I did have access to play it because I don't have a PlayStation, and I still want to play it like when it comes out, and I am anticipating buying it when it comes out, but I'm not as hyped. I'm just not as hyped. It makes it really tough when they have those exclusivity deals, and like, I understand why they do, but it just, I don't know. I feel like I've heard too much at this point, so like, I'm like,
Yeah. No, that's fair. That's fair. Okay. Community check-in. So we had a poll up on YouTube this past week that was supposed to be up the last week, but I finally did it. So this is regarding interest in playing Final Fantasy XI prior to the Alliance raids coming out. Out of 124 votes, you won't believe this, out of 124 votes, there's less than 10% dividing every single option, and there's 5 options. So the highest percentage was 28% saying they have no interest in Final Fantasy XI. 21%, 21%, and 19% either used to play long ago, want to play but don't know how to, or would just rather watch a story recap. So pretty much like equally divided, with the lowest demographic, only 11% saying they have played a bit, kind of back in the day. So it's really evenly split across the board. But I feel for the people who want to give it a try who just don't know how to get started, because even the download like information and instructions and stuff are very hard to follow. It would be worth making a video on.
I wonder if we know anybody who could do that.
Considering I was thinking of getting back into it, maybe.
You're gonna have to find a YouTuber.
Oh man, I do feel bad. I haven't been on YouTube too much, but you know, yeah, stuff happens. Stuff happens. I'm still here. I'm not going anywhere. What can we do for a poll or something this week?
Let's see. We already did a poll about Final Fantasy 16. Definitely can't do that again. We've already touched base. That is long gone. You know, and maybe this is closer to the live letter. What are people most excited about in 7.1? Or for 7.1? That's what, at some point, that's what I want to know. Is it the alliance raids? Is it PvP updates? Is it being able to Fisher cast on G-Pose? What is it?
Oh man, I've been waiting for that for years. Yeah. Finally, the game is going to be playable. Okay. No, but in reality, that's a good idea. I can dig up the sort of things that have been announced for 7.1 and kind of get a feel for where people are at. That is fantastic. If you want to take part in any of these community polls or questions or photo requests, check us on our Discord as well as my YouTube page and our Twitter X account. Links will be in the description.
If you're live now, a Linktree link just got posted as well. Everything is in there.
There you go. Awesome. One of us knows what they're doing.
Don't stretch your luck.
Okay. Hot topic? Do we want to move into hot topic?
Hot topic. I do want to mention, let's see. One thing in chat I'm seeing, I'll pop it up live. Prince has never done an alliance raid on release day and can't wait for the chaos. Let me tell you. It's so chaotic. Alliance raid.
Oh, we didn't catch that.
Oh, sorry.
Okay.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. Release day, alliance raids are so chaotic, and I think that that's like the funnest thing about them is no one knows what they're doing. Everyone's on the same playing field. No one's like, oh god, why don't you know this mechanic? Like, no one knows what they're doing. It's like tossing a bunch of headless chickens into a ring and seeing what happens. It's chaos and it's beautiful. So I'm very excited for you that you get to experience that for the first time.
Yeah, no, my first time was the near raids in Shadowbringers, but then I also was like opening day for Endwalker as well. And yeah, no, absolutely fun.
It is beautiful. If for some reason, like, I used to be able to take off Tuesdays from work or work kind of like remotely, if you're able to get on like the morning of release, that's like the pinnacle, because that is just when pure chaos ensues and everyone's just freaking out. So definitely excited for that myself.
Yeah. Awesome. Okay. Hot topic. So we got something else on the lodestone that I did not mention along with everything else, which is a note about the graphics update from producer and director Yoshida. Addressing feedback on player character models and their future plans to address it. So, anyone who has clicked on the read on for details got a whole lot of information that I could not believe it. I could not believe it. There are some very astute people who play this game very differently than I do. And so it goes into changes in the minutiae, like eyelash direction and like the way the light catches skin tone on Aura horns. Like, what were your first impressions of reading this article?
My first impressions were, holy cow. I know that people like screenshotting their character especially. This is way more detail than I think I would notice, and I'm a creatively visual person. Even just how the shape of the polygons are around certain features like eyes and eye bags. that is not something that I necessarily noticed or anything like that. It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild seeing how super detailed some of these examples are that they're going to be trying to improve.
Yeah. So, I mean, this is something you will never see for any other MMO. Yoshi very politely and, you know, seriously, because I could see them taking this in a very sarcastic direction, but they didn't. Like, he addresses this very appropriately and seriously, the feedback they have gotten and what they plan to do about it. And a lot of cases, like why these issues are happening, so people can understand. Yeah.
It's a lot.
And these issues, it's a lot. And these issues occur with specific races and face types. Like, it's not a, well, this is broken with all of this race or gender. It's like, okay, well, this race, this gender with this particular face has a problem with this hairstyle. Like, this is how detailed they are looking at this stuff. Like, it shows on screen now, like, blemishes, redness, and pores are more noticeable with certain face types. Thicker or darker colored lips. The shape of polygons around the eyes, including eye bags and inner eye shadows, with different face types. They're intending to make adjustments and corrections wherever possible in patch 7.1, but oh my god. Feedback on eyelashes and eyebrows. Inconsistent eyelash facing. Rounding of jawlines and changed smiling expressions. Like, one, the question is, how much of the content creation team, like the dev team for Final Fantasy XIV, is working on things like this versus how much of the player base actually notices or cares? What are your thoughts on that? Like, is this cost effective? Like, is this worth it in the long run?
It's such a tough thing to say because on one hand, and this is not to discount anybody's love of like glamour in their characters, but on one hand it's a little extreme. Like, it is very, like, you know, a little bit crazy on one hand. On another hand, I mean, a lot of people do care about their appearance of their character, and like, you know, I've heard people call it fashion fantasy. Like, there are some people that really like, not just glamour being the true end game as the joke goes, but like, they really play this game for the character building, the character creation. They really put a lot of time into their characters. So like, I do appreciate how they recognize that this is the people who are mentioning these issues are a large part of their audience, even if they're just like a niche part. Like, they are people who do come back and keep their subscriptions and everything. So it is good to see that they are taking it seriously and not just like joking about it. As far as if it's worth it, like, I think it depends on how much effort these things take, because it's a lot of little things, but like, I don't know, maybe it's just like, okay, one of these issues takes 15 minutes to fix. You know what I mean? So like, I feel like I would never want the entire dev team to be working on this. But, you know, if they have like a target small section of their team that like can work on bugs like this, especially if they kind of factored this into their time after expansion launch, then I think it makes sense to really perfect what like this chapter of the graphical update is intended to be.
I just, yeah. So this paragraph here that I was reading is like, As a result, even if nasal cavities and the like are the exact same shape pre 6.58 and post 7.0, they may appear different depending on such things as camera angle, weather, and lighting. Nasal cavities? Are we
Yeah, that's
for
a bit
real
much.
talking
That, okay,
cavities?
screw my opinion. This is insane.
Oh
I
man.
am not looking at my nostrils. And if I
Okay.
am, it is not on purpose.
But I mean, for real though, if we're talking about someone who is using Final Fantasy 14 as a glamour game, are they also the same people who are using at least one mod or third-party application to already enhance those images? Like,
There's no T button. Read it up.
oh man,
It does seem a bit much, right? Like it is a lot. It is definitely a lot.
So here's the other part of that, and that's that I've been playing MMOs since EverQuest in the very early 2000s. And back in those days, the games looked terrible. Like they were very pixelated. Character models were very polygonal. Snakes fell from the sky and kicked you. Like there was a whole bunch of visual problems with that game, but it was easy for people to sink like thousands and thousands of hours into. So an MMO inherently attracts people to play for very long periods of time over a number of years. Is making the game this pretty impacting the majority of the player base, or is it just fluff? You know, like is it adding any substance to the game for the majority of players?
See, one thing that I'm thinking of too, because the people that would be working on this would be more visual designers, I would assume, less probably the coders and the back end things. Hot take: if they're trying to find something for these people to do, like if they don't have enough like new projects for them to work on, why are you guys creating new hats that Vieras can't wear? And I'm not talking reskins. I'm talking new gear that still Viera and Hrothgar can't wear. Why? This is 2024.
Okay, no, valid point. Valid point. We have some very big issues that are kind of higher priority than nostril color. Like maybe some of this is misdirected just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Now, is Yoshi P appealing to a vocal minority? Like, is this just his way of saying, okay, well, we've heard you complain. We've heard a lot of complaints. Here is a bunch of information so you be quiet for a little while.
I definitely think it could be. I think too, since they announced the graphical update, I'm talking before Dawn Trail, like back in Endwalker, before like the first iteration of what the graphical update may look like, that everyone was like, no, this doesn't look good. I feel like they've taken that as like a very not a prestigious, but like they've really put a lot of effort and time into that project, like the graphical update, and for good reason. You know, they wanted to change the visual look of the game without changing it too much. I feel like this kind of types on that though, where it's like they really think highly of this project, of this like, you know, type of thing in the game. However, Are they just listening to like a lot of the vocal minority and like taking it to the extreme? I think we might start seeing it going to the extreme with this.
Yeah, so I mean, looking at it in the best possible light, they are seeing this as a long-term game. It's got at least a 20-year shelf life, by way of Final Fantasy XI showing that. And they are taking this opportunity to make the game appear competitive like 10 years in the future. But is the future of video games really going to include that graphical intenseness? Or is the future of video games gonna like retro a little bit and focus more on the gameplay and the story? Like there's got to be a point, right, where we've hit the pinnacle of graphics and we need to like, you know, stay there or go down a little bit and focus on other things. Like there's been a resurgence of 8-bit games lately, that are incredibly popular. Do you have any thoughts on that? Like, are they preparing for a future that might not be as demanding as they think it is?
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to be said about you know, those older style or art style games coming out. Like, I don't think 8-bit will ever die, truthfully. I think it's going to come in ebbs and flows. You know, people are going to want the nostalgia, then they're going to want more flashy and newer and shinier. But I think, I mean, look at people that still play WoW and like even 11, where the graphics aren't highly refined. However, there's still lots of people going back and have been playing for years, over a decade. I think that's where like there has to be a balance between like content and like fashion versus function, I guess. Which, not to say that there's not enough content in 14, like there's plenty of content, but I think they might be kind of preparing for a future that's not like, I don't think anybody's really going to be expecting photorealistic Makote anytime soon, honestly. I'm not.
I mean, you kind of have that expectation, like with the Final Fantasy VII Remake games. You want it to have that very polished visual appeal. Same with Final Fantasy 16. But that's in a single player closed environment game where you can take years of time and make it perfect and kind of refine it. But like an MMO is a living, breathing thing that changes on a cyclic basis, like every couple of months. Like, is it possible to have that degree of detail and to keep everyone happy at that degree of detail? And I mean, heaven forbid they get everyone satisfied and then can't maintain it because it's just too much effort, too much work to maintain that level of detail.
That's honestly a good point, and that's kind of what scares me a little bit about some of this update is when is the not criticism, but kind of from the community going to stop? Like, when will they say no, where we're happy with the final product? And I'm glad that they're like, it's like kind of a double-edged sword. Like, on one hand, I am very glad that they're looking into it and they love trying to do what they can for the community. However, will they think it's enough, or will they just keep bending to what is potentially a vocal minority? Like, will they just keep bending to it, and then is anything going to be sacrificed in the wake of that?
Yeah, and maybe it's a quality over quantity thing. Like, maybe because there hasn't been a change into a transmog system, maybe because there hasn't been like a release of a whole bunch of hairstyles from the hairstyle contest, like maybe because we're really wanting something new, something to, you know, go crazy over. They're having time to, one, nitpick, and two, to focus on the nitpicks. Like, I would love like 10 more hairstyles. Give me longer hairstyles, braided hairstyles, like give me a bunch of new stuff that I can spend my time looking at and and, photographing, G-posing in, like, then I'm not focusing on my nostrils, I'm focusing on that really cool, awesome new hairstyle that I just got, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and you know what? If that hairstyle could be worn by a femme Haroth, even better. Like,
long hairstyles, especially. No clipping.
well, see, that's the thing. Like, people who play this sort of game, like, you understand things clip, right? Like, if you're trying to take the perfect G pose, yeah, it could be really annoying. Trying to like circle the camera around till you find it where it's not like very obvious that your hair is going through your shoulder. But I mean, during gameplay, you expect it. Like, it's just, we understand that's how games are made and objects move and don't have collision, and yeah.
I mean, maybe it's because I do a lot of endgame content too, like Savage and Ultimates and Extremes, but like, I don't notice that stuff when I'm playing. Like, when I'm actually in a battle class fighting, I might notice a little bit. I'm not focused on it as like my primary though. So it's like, even I'm someone who, like, in real life, I like long hair. I'm not a big short hair fan. It's just not for me. I make it work. And, some hairstyles I'm mad at because they clip a little too much, but like, yeah.
Yeah, I once slammed my long hair in the car door. Sometimes there's clipping, in real life. But
That's painful.
That was when I decided to get it cut off and given to charity. But
that's fair.
Yeah, so do you have any final thoughts to kind of wrap this up? Like, I know it's a bit of a mess. It's a bit of a messy situation. There are some people who this is why they play the game, and I'm sure they can back up their reasons for being this particular. But as a representation of players of the game, that is not our experience. So what kind of summation can you do of your thoughts on this topic?
Yeah, so I think if I had to sum it up, it's a bit much. Like, the length of detail that they're going to address these issues is a lot. I think it's way more than they need to. I do appreciate that they care. And they look like they actually seriously care and they want to put time towards it. If I could ever ask Yoshi P himself, I just want to know kind of where their line is. Because I feel like they have to create a boundary, or at a certain point it's just going to get insane. So I hope this is maybe one of the last iterations of this that we see, and that they start creating some boundaries so that we don't get stuck by something with very, very specific small details, and that we can start looking towards maybe some of the bigger issues.
Absolutely. No, that's a very good point. So, I mean, as a response to all the feedback they've received, I appreciate that they've done the thing they always do, which is communicate to the community very concisely, very clearly, laying out their understanding of the problem and a plan for the future. But if this type of thing is brought up again post 7.1, it will start to feel like they're focusing in the wrong areas. And then some players like you and I might go, okay, well, that's fantastic, but why is this an investment and a larger glamour dresser isn't, and more items isn't, and a transmog system isn't, and etc., etc., etc. Hats, we could go on and on about, yes, but what about all these things that you don't have the time and ability to do that appeal to a much larger player base? So yeah, I suppose that's my summary as well. Is I appreciate what they're trying to do. They're talking to a specific player in this note. That player doesn't happen to be me, but I can appreciate that to the people they're talking to, they're providing as much information as they can, and they're showing they have a clear understanding of the problem.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I guess that's all there really is to say. Chat is going wild. I see a whole bunch of messages, but I can't see any of them. What's chat saying on this?
A lot of back and forth in chat. I know Ayana, I believe, mentioned just kind of the same thing that we said, like resources. Just there are a lot of big issues. I know Ayana is a Xbox player, so you know. Hey,
yeah, there's a lot of issues in Xbox, yeah.
Yeah, so like, I think you hit the nail on the head, Debbie. With if we keep seeing too much of this response, other players are going to feel like their responses aren't being heard and aren't being met with the same amount of dedication, and that could kind of backfire on them too. Yeah, it looks like chat. A lot of people are kind of like excited that they're doing some of the graphical updates, which is good. And then of course there's a lot of other issues that could be addressed.
Awesome. So yeah, it seems to be the general response there. Okay. So that was this week's hot topic. What do we got next? We got a tip of the week. I was trying to come up with a tip of the week, and I was just like frantically thinking of everything I could talk about, and I thought up all the ways you can get extra experience through your grand company. Because I know free company buffs maybe aren't always up, maybe people aren't part of a free company, maybe their free company is dead, whatever's going on, there is a way to get the same buffs through your grand company, but even higher. Like in some cases, instead of like a 10% buff, like a 15% buff, this is through your squadrons. So we said the S word. Squadrons are another part of the game that they could really focus a lot more on and make significant again. Because some of the things you can get from these squadron missions are really good. And squadrons can take you through a dungeon way faster than a duty support team can, if you've got them leveled up. So I could take an hour talking just about squadrons, but if you do the weekly missions, they give you items that you can use and will give you the same buffs as your free company. Also, manuals, survival manuals and engineering manuals give you huge bonuses to your crafting and gathering. And they're just purchasable for Grand Company seals. In some cases, like there's different levels of them that you can purchase in different locations. Have you used any of these?
I love the squadron manuals. I usually stock up on these, especially before an expansion, but in general, they are, for layman's terms too, they're the equivalent of a grade 3 FC buff, which the grade 3 FC buffs can only be made, I believe, by the FC actually crafting those buffs versus just being able to purchase them right from their grand company. I get them for everything. So they have them for teleporting, reduced fees. They like pretty much almost anything you can get in an FC buff, you can get there. Back when I wasn't an FC that had regular scheduled buffs, I would do them for off rotation things. So if I wanted MGP bonus, but my FC didn't have it, I would just get the squadron battle manuals to use myself. Now I have my own FC, so I can kind of do whatever I want. But still, the grade 3s are just, the squadron battle manuals are way better than the FC ones if you're only having grade 2s. So I stack up on them and I use them quite a bit.
Yeah, I was doing some leveling in gathering on an alt, and I had the free company buff up, and I had the survival manual up, like the highest survival manual I could get. And I went to the diadem and started gathering there. with like the rested bonus and armory bonus. And I got like 40 levels on a gatherer in like an hour. Like it doesn't take very long at all. You just pop book after book after book and go for it. And it melts. Like the amount of experience you get is crazy. So these manuals can give you up to, what is it, like 200% experience.
Something wild. Like it depends on the type of buff, but it is exponentially better than almost any other buff. We did get a kind of question, kind of not in chat. I'm gonna pull up from Toy Christopher. So to my knowledge, and Debbie, correct me if you know differently, if for instance you use a squadron EXP buff, it overwrites your free company buff. So those don't get to stack in tandem. However, if you're free... Oh, sorry. Yeah, no, they don't stack, but you do receive the highest bonus. Yes. And then if, for instance, your free company has like MGP and teleport, and you want an EXP squadron buff, you can use that, and then you would essentially have like 3 buffs active at the same time. As long as they're not 2 of the same, then the higher one will come out of it instead.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you only get to play once or twice a week and you want to make the most of that time, you can superpower your character. Like, just throw on a bunch of buffs and get as much as you can as quickly as you can. That is completely legit. Yeah. Man, now I wish they would go... it's leading me back to my whole, like, why aren't they doing anything with the grand companies? Why is there still ranks we can't get? Why is there still squadron dungeons that we don't have? Like, why can't they put more into that?
Yoshi P, why? Why do you do this to us?
Because, I mean, that's been since Realm Reborn.
Yeah.
Like... It's only been 10 years. Come on.
What's 10 years between grand companies? Am I right?
But see, now they've left it so long that they're having the issue of the Warrior of Light appearing partisan because they're putting their loyalty behind a grand company and instead of focusing on all of Aetherius, and they've created this problem for themselves. I have no sympathy. I just want to be like high-ranking, savior of the world.
Or delete the ranks. Like, I wish it was like, if you're gonna have ranks that we can never achieve, just get rid of them.
Right?
Don't make me think that you're giving them to me essentially.
Oh my god, because as long as there's an achievement there that can't be earned, it's gonna really irk achievement hunters, Like,
maybe that's why they do it, so that they say you're never done. You're always with us. You can never leave.
Because I've got to the highest rank I can in each of the 3 grand companies, and I can't go any further. I just can't.
Maybe it's a psychological tactic. That's how they get you to stay, because they think at some point it's gonna happen. We'll see. Patch 11.0.
Oh man. Okay. What are you doing this week?
Surviving. No, so I actually started a new job today.
Yay!
So yay. It's gonna be a bit crazy this week navigating my new schedule, but the only things that I have planned right now are savages. We are in M4S. We're about halfway through the fight. So just going through with my static on Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday through those.
Okay, you're at number 4. So as I said, as long as you are progging, people can send their Arcadian glam pictures to our Discord.
Yeah.
I was going to say Astarian.
Wrong
got
game.
A little too much Baldur's Gate 3 on the brain, but they just released their 7.0 patch, so I was super excited about that. Awesome. So I hope your new job goes fantastic.
Thank you. It's kind of a dream come true. I can't talk about it as much as I would love to, but a lot of fun things gonna happen.
Awesome. Okay, and I was MIA most of last week, but I am going to be back this week. I work again tomorrow, but then I've got 2 days of Dragon Age Origins, and then more Final Fantasy on Friday and Saturday. So stay tuned for that. I am hoping to get through Dragon Age in time for the release of Dragon Age Veilguard on October 31st. But my heart is still with Final Fantasy, guys. So you can always find me in game when I'm not sick. That's where I am. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining us this week. Tune in again next week, same time, same channel, for some more Final Fantasy XIV news. Pyra, thank you so much, as always, for joining me and helping me brain.
We share the brain cell, so sometimes I have it, sometimes you have it.
You know, yeah, that's the way to do it. If it's left with any one person, it'll just get damaged. So, you know.
Shared custody.
Oh my god. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. Love yourself as much as you love others, and we will see you in game. Bye.
Bye, friends.